Alright. See the power and speed. You trying to get that fight with Likkleman, isn't it? Alright, relax. Relax, man. Relax. I said relax, man. Jeez. Hi there guys, and welcome to another episode of A Dash of Sports, episode 24. I'll be your host and presenter, Dashiki Dash, and on this show is where I talk about all things sports related, hot topics, and trending stories. And if you like the previous episodes, then hey, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Also, don't forget to press the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. And oh yeah, one more thing, don't forget to share this. And on today's jam-packed show, I'm going to be kicking it off with some football, starting off with the round of games and results from the Premier League this past week. And also I'm going to be discussing the infamous handball law that's been introduced into the Premier League this season. Now I tell you what, it's ruining football, you know. It's ruining football. And now moving on to the world of combat sports, starting off with some MMA, the UFC to be exact. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa in one of the most anticipated fights from this year. And trust me, it did not disappoint. So I'm going to be going through the roundup and the result from that devastating fight. From the octagon to the square circle, as I move on to some boxing, I'll be giving you a roundup of the Charlo brothers, as they both were victorious in a double-headed event this past weekend. And last but not least, with one of the main events from this past weekend, as it was dubbed the biggest little fight of all time. Likkleman versus Salim Chiboub for the WND world title, the wicked and bad world title. Now, I did not know what to expect from this fight, but I can't lie, it was alright now. It was alright. But hey, more to be discussed on the Dash of Sports. Now I want to start by saying, I want to go on record for saying that the Premier League is the best football league in the world. Like, there's no debating. And if you want to debate about it, we can go back and forth. I don't mind. Put your comments down below. I'm here for it. These past few weeks in the back end of last season from Project Restart, it's just shown that, listen, there's levels above in it. There's levels to this when it comes to the Premier League. This is why they get paid so much money for their TV rights. Now, I thought that last week was a good week of football, but yet again, the Premier League has failed to disappoint. Another great week. I'm going to jump straight into it. Starting with Monday night's main event, Liverpool versus Arsenal, with Liverpool winning 3-1 with a surprise goal from Alexander Lacazette from a mistake from Liverpool fullback Andy Robertson. But shortly after that, Sadio Mane pounced on a Salah shot that was parried right into his path by Bert Leno to just tap it in to make it 1-1. And then Andy Robertson made amends for his mistake for the first goal conceded to score a goal to make it 2-1. And then late on into the game, as new signing and debutant Diogo Jota scored to make it 3-1. This definitely wasn't the game that we saw at the back end of last season or in the Community Shield. Liverpool really showed why they're the Premier League champions with real intensity with their press, with how they were just closing down, getting the ball back, counter-attacking, playing the long ball. They did everything. They just nullified Arsenal. And I would say Arsenal really and truly, they played quite scared. Come the second half, yeah, they opened up a bit. By the time Chiboub came on, they created chances. Lacazette missed a gilt-edged chance that could have made it 2-2. But these are the way things go. If you don't take your chances, then all you're just going to be doing is sitting there thinking shoulda, coulda, woulda. So we missed his chance, and then, Lord and behold, when you miss your chance like that, 3-1, Jota scores, game done, 3 points to Liverpool. Fulham versus Aston Villa, with the Villains winning 3-0 with goals from man of the match Jack Grealish, Conor Hurrian and Tyrone Mings to take all 3 points back to Villa Park. That's 2 games out of 2 with 6 points on the board. Looking really good at the moment, Aston Villa. And yet again, another clean sheet from new goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Now the ongoing debate now, the ongoing talk is going to be whether or not Arsenal should have sold Martinez for 20, 25 million. Looking like a real bargain for Aston Villa right now. And then moving on to Sunday's games as it kicked off with Sheffield United versus Leeds, with Leeds winning 1-0 late on with a goal from man of the match Patrick Bamford, who's finally showing his worth back in the Premier League, gaining his team a much needed 3 points, which is going to be a real tough season for the promoted side, but winning games like this against Sheffield United is going to put them in the right stint. And then moving on to one of the most controversial matches this season so far, Tottenham versus Newcastle, which ended 1-1. It seemed like Tottenham was going to win this game 1-0, although they missed a load of chances with Son hitting the post, hitting the bar. Harry Kane with a gilt-edged point-blank header that was saved by the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was on bones as well, was just literally saving everything. But Lord of behold, when you miss your chances like that, literally in the dying minutes, handball that was given, which... Listen, the laws of the game at the moment is saying it's handball, but Dyer's put his hands up in the air and he can't see the ball. The ball's come from behind and it's hit his hand. Handball, penalty. Callum Wilson to score literally at the death, and it's made it 1-1. Newcastle go back to Tyneside with a point. Literally would have been a point that they would have celebrated like it was 3 points. When the penalty was given, Jose Mourinho was absolutely devastated, to the point where he just walked down the tunnel and he was just like, you know what, forget this. And you know his quote, if I speak, I'll get in trouble. Even to the point he was just like, he preferred to donate his money to charity rather than donating it to the FA, because if he says something, he's just going to get fined. Now I keep telling you guys, the Premier League is the best league in the world, and it always throws up all of these surprises. Man City versus Leicester, 5-2. To who? Leicester beat Man City 5-2 at the Etihad. But it didn't start off as bad as it sounds. First goal went to Man City with an absolutely beauty from Riyad Mahrez in the 4th minute. And then after that, it just went downhill. A hat-trick from Jamie Vardy, which involved 2 penalties. A goal, an absolute banger, a screamer, a worldie from James Maddison, and then a late penalty at the end which Jamie Vardy wasn't on the pitch for, and then it was left for Yuri Tielemans to swiftly dispatch it to end the game 5-2. Absolutely crazy game. Pep Guardiola just, I don't know right now, Pep, you need to do something. You need to do something, or otherwise Liverpool are just going to run away with this. And then for the likes of Brendan Rodgers, that's a feather in his cap right there, to take all 3 points and to beat Man City like that. 5-2. Hey man, I salute you right there. Another shock result was played out at the London Stadium, with West Ham beating Wolves 4-0 with 2 goals from man of the match from Jared Bowen, and a goal that was deflected onto Raul Jimenez, which was then counted as an own goal. And then the 4th goal was capped off by Sebastian Haller to end the game 4-0. 3 points for West Ham, which was a much needed 3 points after their first 2 defeats. Moving on to Saturday's game, where the drama really started. This is where the drama really started. Brighton versus Man United, where the game actually finished 2-2 by the full-time whistle. But in true VAR fashion, you know that anything is possible when VAR's around. The game actually ended 3-2. With a late penalty. Literally at the end of the game, the penalty was given. So before the final whistle, literally in the last second, there was a handball that the referee missed out on. And VAR, as they do, whispered in the referee's ear. He had to go and check the screen and then gave the penalty after the full-time whistle. And then you know that there's only one person for that job, Bruno Fernandes, who swiftly dispatched it. 3-2, giving Man United all 3 points. Much needed 3 points, especially after they lost to Crystal Palace and their late start. So that in itself, when I heard about it, I was like, how the hell is Man United winning? Like I thought the game was done, 2-2. I was there thinking just, oh, they've dropped some points. But nope, VAR. It was the right decision though. Let's just put it out there from early. It was the right decision. And VAR, as much as it gets criticised, you got to admit that it gets the decision right. Whether you like it or not, it gets the decisions right. Then we had Crystal Palace losing to Everton at home, and with another goal for the season for man of the match Dominic Calvert-Lewin and a penalty from Richarlison, with a consolation goal from Cheku Kouyaté, which gave Everton another 3 points for the season as they still remain undefeated with 9 points on the board so far. Now, the fact that this game ended 3-3 is still baffling. I'm still amazed by it. How can you be 3-0 up and you actually draw the game 3-3? Well, West Brom was that team, the team that was 3-0 up and then ended up throwing it away and drawing 3-3. Well, starting off with 2 first half goals from Callum Robinson and a third by Kyle Bartley. But come second half, Chelsea was on a rampage with goals from Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and then right in the dying moments with a controversial goal because I feel like it hit Kai Havertz's arm, but nonetheless it wasn't given, and a late goal from Tammy Abraham to make it 3-3 and for Chelsea to come away with a point. 2 points probably dropped, they would say, but a point nonetheless, considering the fact that they were 3-0 down by half time. A point is a decent result for them. And then moving on to the last game to round up game week 3, Burnley versus Southampton. With Southampton taking all 3 points, beating Burnley 1-0 with a goal from none other than Danny Ings. This guy has become a sharpshooter, a real hitman. Another goal. Like, if he continues like this, if he continues on this rich vein of form, he's going to have to go to a big club. He can't stay at Southampton because there's going to be clubs after him. At the moment, Southampton are staying strong. The market, isn't great at the moment in terms of the money that's being spent and all of that. But next year, next summer, if he continues like this, he's gone. So game week 3 is done and dusted. And all I can just say right now is wow. Wow. Because the controversy, the handballs, the entertainment, the late goals, the teams getting pumped left, right and centre. How can you not love the Premier League? But anyway, you let me know, man. Give me your opinions, give me your comments. Was there any standout games that you enjoyed? Did your team win or lose? And how are you feeling about your team? There's only a few more days left into the transfer window. Do you think your team needs to be, shaken up a little bit? 1 or 2 signings left to be bought? Who knows? But hey, leave your comments down below and let me know. So the question I want to ask right now is, what part of the arm is deemed handball? And is there any such thing as accidental handballs now? Because the way this rule is, or the way the law is set, it's actually mad. I'm actually thinking about it right now, and the amount of handballs that's been given as penalties. Nah. This new law needs to be changed. But is it actually a new law? Well, it's not technically new as it's been enforced across Europe last season. But the Premier League is now taking a more strict approach. So that means a player will be penalised for handball if the hand arm is clearly away from the body and outside the body line. Now, I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence with this. I am. Because a part of me thinks this, look. As far as I know and as far as I've been watching football, playing football, once your hands come away from your body, your arms, it leaves you in a position where if the ball touches your arms, it touches your hand, it's likely to be a penalty. The only thing that I don't like is that there's no room for interpretation, because there's certain situations where it's accidental. You can't avoid it. You can't get out of the way. We've just seen with the Eric Dyer situation, obviously the ball's coming from behind. He has no idea, no clue that this is a penalty. Even happened at one time, who did it happen against? PSG, Man United versus PSG, where the ball was just hit. And I think it was Di Maria where the ball hit his hand, like literally in close proximity. Like there was no way of him avoiding that. And it was a penalty. So we're seeing it in Europe and we're now seeing it in the Premier League, and it's entertaining because you're getting all these penalties, you're getting these goals, but come on, man. Certain situations, they're not penalties. Now, it doesn't feel like there's been much changes made to the rules, the laws of the game in regards to handball, because it still feels the same. If your arms are away from your body, you're likely to give away a penalty. If it's, to the side, you're in an unnatural position, you've raised in the air, you're likely to give away a penalty. So where's the rules actually changed? Because it seems like, or as we can see right now, penalties are being given left, right and centre for every type of handball. Football's rule makers, the International Football Association Board, IFAB, tightened up the handball rule in time for this season, defining that the boundary between the shoulder and the arm as the bottom of the armpit. Anything below that and it's a handball, intentional or not, it doesn't matter. IFAB also emphasised that a handball offence takes place when a player makes their body unnaturally bigger or puts their arms above their shoulder height. It also clarified that an accidental handball by an attacking player is only penalised if it occurs immediately before a goal or a clear goal scoring opportunity. Now, I just read that and I still don't totally get where the change is, apart from just emphasising the fact that whether or not it's intentional or not. So if it's accident, there's no grey area no more, there's no room for interpretation. So if you've handballed it or the ball hits your hand, should I say, then it's a penalty, point blank. Now, I'm still stuck in between, because if we leave it to interpretation, then every referee basically will have their own way of seeing whether or not something is a handball or not. So I'm guessing that the Football Association or whoever's in charge, these rule makers, are just trying to put a blanket decision out there, like a blanket law, which means if the ball touches your arm, hand, it's a handball regardless. But then there are situations where it's accidental, so come on, there needs to be some common sense in the game. I'm somewhat understanding to what's going on, but I just want there to be some common sense to the game. There needs to be some common sense. That's the key word right there, common sense. But you know what they say, common sense is not so common. But let me know what you're thinking right now, because listen, it's all over social media, before, after games. This is the number one topic right now. Handballs. VAR is not being used correctly in this situation, because there are many a times where it's not handball. So let me know how you feel. Put your comments down below. Should the laws be changed? That's what we need to know right now. Should the laws be changed? And if the laws are changed, is it fair to do it like midway through the season? Because all of the teams that have been affected by this law have lost out and conceded goals, or lost points. So would it be fair, or should they still run with this law and then just change it up next season? Let me know. Put your comments down below and let me know. And now moving on to the world of combat sports, MMA, UFC 253. With the style bender himself, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. And now listen, whoever you put in front of Israel, whoever you put in front of him, he's going to dismantle, he's going to pick apart, he's going to destroy. Whether you love him or you hate him, you cannot deny this guy's talent. Israel Adesanya dominated Paulo Costa in the early hours of Sunday morning, silencing his rival after months of back and forth trash talk. Adesanya spent one round blasting Costa's legs with kicks before finishing the fight in the second round with a left hook that put Costa on the canvas, and then ground and pound that closed the show. With the win, Israel Adesanya improved his perfect record to 20-0 and successfully defended his middleweight title for the second time. Now, the way I've just described and broken down the fight there, it doesn't do it justice. You need to, if you've not watched the fight, you need to go and watch it, because for me, it was an absolute clinic, absolute dominance. Like, Costa had literally no chance. He didn't clinch. He weren't trying to be dominant. He wasn't trying to be aggressive. Usually those are his traits. He's usually highly dominant. He's very aggressive in how he approaches fights and how he closes people down and roughs them up. He had none of that. None of that was being shown in this fight. Because of how dominant Israel Adesanya was, he literally busted open his legs. Once he started on the legs, it's like chopping down a tree, innit? You keep chopping down on that tree, chop, 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 that tree's gonna fall. And that's literally what happened. He busted open his leg. The inside of his leg was all welted up, and the outside of his leg was all bruised. Then there was the shin kicks to the head that then busted him open, that cut him open. Then there was like the punch to the side of the temple that literally rocked his equilibrium, had him down on the ground, and then after that, ground and pound. And if you think about it, Costa only maybe 2 jabs in the fight? The most of it was just doing bravado, trying to get Israel to get off his game a bit. But listen, a fully focused middleweight champion. He ain't champ for no reason, you know. All of that bravado stuff, you're not going to get the middleweight champion off his game. He was there to do business, and definitely not fight of the year, but the most dominant fight. One of the most dominant fights of the year, easily. But I was actually disappointed in Costa's performance. I thought he was going to bring it to Israel Adesanya, but yeah, man, he just flopped, basically. Now, I agree with Israel Adesanya's comments at the end of the fight in regards to choosing his next opponent, and I think Gerard Cannonier is the right opponent. I think he is one of the top contenders in the middleweight division, and that would be a right old scrap between the both of them. Gerard Cannonier is currently preparing for a showdown with former champion Robert Whittaker at UFC 254 in October. If he's victorious, Cannonier should expect his next fight to come against Adesanya with the middleweight title up for grabs. So Dana White actually confirmed that potential fight between Adesanya and Cannonier, which is good. It's really good to see that these two are willing to go at it, because a lot of the time, sometimes you see these fighters, especially when at the top of their game, they're avoiding each other. Not so much in the UFC, but sometimes you do see it. A lot of the time, should I say, you see it in boxing, but in UFC, most times the top fighters do fight each other. So I'm glad to see that. And they're quite cool with each other as well. So I think it is one of those ones where well, I say friendly competition, but it's more like rival competition. They just want to see who's the best. And that's going to be a really interesting fight to see. But as much as that fight is being, you know, they're trying to set that up, Cannonier has to get past Robert Whittaker, and that's not going to be no easy feat, you know, because, hey, Whittaker can bring it. So Cannonier has to take care of business, and then we'll be able to see that fight. But all in all, let me know how you felt about the whole event in itself, not just the Israel fight. Was there any other fights that caught your eye, or there's fights that I should have watched? Because I literally just set my alarm for the Israel fight. Oh man, it was early hours on a Sunday morning. Please forgive me, but I'm going to be going back to watching the rest of the fights, because I know that there was 1 or 2 that I missed out on that were really good ones. But put your comments down below, let me know. Then I'll be able to check them out. From the octagon to the squared circle, moving on to some boxing. The Charlo brothers were in action this past weekend, and they did not disappoint. Whenever these two are fighting, or either one of them, tune in, pay attention. These guys are the real deal. The Charlo Twins, Jamel and Jamal, delivered the goods in a pay-per-view doubleheader with wins over Jason Rosario and Sergey Dervyashenko, respectively. In the first main event, Jamal Charlo showed why he's one of the best middleweight boxers on the planet, outlanding Dervyashenko for a unanimous decision win to retain the WBC title. Then Jamel Charlo outslugged Rosario for a nasty finish in the 8th round to unify 3 of the 4 recognized titles at 154 pounds. Jamel Charlo was methodical in his approach, brushed off the early pressure from Rosario, dropped him twice, and then I think in the 8th round, gave him one stiff jab, like a stabbing jab to the stomach, literally. That had him out, gas right in the fufu area. You know where the fufu resides? Right here in the pouch, here in the gut. And after that, he was gasping for air. He was rolling around on the floor. He was up on the ropes. That was it. Fight done. An absolute dominant performance. One thing that I will say about the Charlo Twins is do not mess around with these guys. Is that, yeah, they do their boxing thing, whatever, but outside the ring, they get busy as well, and they don't take nothing. So I just can't wait to see these guys in action again. They are one of my favorite fighters, both of them. I know that I probably lean more towards Jamel Charlo than Jamal, But both of them, they're both entertaining. And you know what they do? They take care of business and they mean it as well. No messing around when they get in the ring. And they tell you as well before the fights, like, listen, we're not here to mess around. They're here to do a job. And that's what I like about them. They do not mess around. They're there for business and business only. But let me know how you feel about the Charlo Twins. If you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. Are they a bunch of hype or are they the real deal? Now, for me, I know where I stand with this and I'll let you know from early. I feel like they're the real deal, but you lot could think otherwise. So put your comments down below and let me know. Also, is there any other fighters that you want to suggest for me to be paying attention to? You never know, man. We could be looking at the next champion of the world or anything like that. Put your comments down below and let me know. And last but not least, I think I've saved the best till last. This was one of the main events from this past weekend and it was dubbed the biggest little fight of all time. Likkleman versus Salim Chiboub. Now this was for the WNB, the Wicked and Bad World Title, a dwarf fight. Now you're thinking to yourself, what is a dwarf? If you didn't know, Likkleman is a dwarf and he had these first, I don't even know, was it a professional fight? Professional amateur fight? Well, it was a boxing fight under boxing rules against an Algerian, next Algerian dwarf. And they got it on. 6 rounds, 6 2-minute rounds, and they got it on. Now, when this first started, I thought to myself, this is a joke. This must be a joke. Aiden Likkleman Henry smashed Salim Chiboub with a 6th round TKO in what was described as the biggest little fight of all time. The referee was forced to stop the fight in the final round when the two 3-foot brawlers went to war at a secret location in London. Likkleman sent Chiboub crashing to the canvas after a series of heavy shots and is now the proud owner of the Wicked and Bad belt. Now listen, I'm going to put my hands up and say I did not take this serious one bit beforehand. Now when I was seeing it all advertised on social media, people putting posts up and everything like that, even down to the training, and I seen him training, like there was a few times obviously he's messing about, but listen, it's all for show, right? I did not take it serious up until the point I watched the actual fight. Then I thought to myself, hey, you know what? These guys actually throwing hands. They're throwing hands. Now we need to just take it for what it is. You know, at the end of the day, they are not professionals. So with anything that comes with like the amateur boxing, whether it be white collar boxing or anything like that, you're gonna expect that level of boxing not to be, you know, it's not going to be so great, is it? But for what it was, the spectacle it was, I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the fight. 6 2-minute rounds. It went right to the 6th round, and when I say that there was blow for blows, there was blow for blows. Now if you've not watched the fight, go and search for it and I'm sure you'll find it's out there, and watch it for yourself and judge for yourself. For me, I'm glad I watched it because it really just turned my mindset and my perspective of how easily you can judge a situation. Just because they're dwarfs, you're thinking to yourself, oh, they can't perform, they can't entertain, and it done exactly that. They entertained, they performed, they put themselves out there, and it reminded me of my time when I did some white collar boxing as well. And the dedication that it takes, you know, they trained, I believe that they trained for about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And listen, I gotta give them full ratings. Full ratings. They put everything on the line, and you know, they had all the bravado beforehand as well, all the pushing, the shoving, the words, the trash talking. But then Likkleman, at the end of the day, came out victorious, backed up his chat and won. And that's all you can ask for. You know, you train hard, you put in all the work, hard work and dedication, and then when you go into the ring, or if you're, you know, performing in front of people or in front of the world, or just for yourself, you come out victorious, or you know, you give it the best that you got. And that was exactly it, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I'm not even gassing or anything like that. Go and watch it for yourself. It was jokes. There was a lot of trash talking during the fight as well, a lot of bravado. But shout out to Wicked and Bad though. I think this will motivate a lot of people, no matter what your stature is. Big, tall, short, fat, slim. It just shows and proves that whatever you want to do, whatever you dedicate your mind to, and you know, you dedicate the time, you can achieve anything that you want. You literally can. And I like the backstory for Likkleman as well. The post-match interview was all about, well, the pre-match and the post-match interview was just all about how Likkleman's turned his life around from going in and out of jail to now being able to entertain people, not just in the social media world, but also going and achieving something. I really enjoyed it. You might watch it and be thinking to yourself, what is this? What kind of joke is this? But like I said, I enjoyed it. I urge you to go and watch it for yourself, and then you might be inspired to even take up boxing yourself. If you have watched it, let me know what your thoughts was in regards to the whole event in itself. Do you see more events happening like this? Because they're popping up everywhere. Soon enough, Mike Tyson's going to be doing I think it's like over 50s, like, you know, the OAP, the OAP events, all like the legends and the vets. Then you've got like the likes of Floyd Mayweather with Logan Paul. So do you see a lot of these novelty events happening more often? Anyway, put your comments down below and let me know. With that being said, I'm going to leave it there for today. And if you've made it this far into the show, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching another episode of A Dash of Sports. I truly appreciate your love and support. And if you need further information about future episodes or just your day-to-day sporting updates, please head over to my Instagram page, and I'm also on Twitter, which is A Dash of Sports. A Dash of Sports, I'll leave it down below here and also put it in my description. And please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Smash that like button, comment and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And until the next time here on A Dash of Sports, peace.